In the tapestry of human experiences, where turmoil and tranquility intertwine, lies the perennial quest for a better life, a life less perturbed by external circumstances and more anchored in deep-seated peace. Stoicism, a philosophy forged in the crucible of ancient wisdom, offers not just coping mechanisms but transformative strategies that promise a profound metamorphosis of the self. This guide invites you on a philosophical expedition to explore how the Stoic teachings can refurbish your mindset, redefine your approach to life's challenges, and ultimately reconstruct the very fabric of your daily existence. The journey through Stoicism is not merely about absorbing lofty ideals, but about applying practical wisdom to achieve a significant overhaul of how we perceive and interact with the world. It begins with a fundamental Stoic principle, the dichotomy of control. Understanding and implementing this concept can dramatically reduce our mental burden by helping us distinguish between what we can change and what we must learn to accept. This distinction is crucial in a world where constant striving often leads to frustration and burnout. Stoicism teaches us to redirect our energies towards our own actions and attitudes, which are within our realm of control, thereby cultivating serenity in the face of life's inevitable upheavals. Consider the profound anxiety that often permeates our existence. Stoic philosophy, as articulated by Marcus Aurelius, provides potent antidotes to such pervasive worries. Aurelius, a Roman emperor who governed an empire and penned his meditations on Stoicism, demonstrated that the source of our worries is not the external events themselves but our judgments about them. He proposed a radical shift from worry to acceptance, suggesting that peace comes not from controlling external events but from mastering our internal responses. His teachings guide us through the process of dissecting our worries, understanding their roots, and responding to them with reason rather than emotion. The journey then delves into the realm of personal action and discipline. Stoicism is not passive, it demands vigorous engagement with life through the prism of virtue and effort. It addresses the pervasive lethargy that can cloud our lives, often disguised as comfort but acting as a barrier to our growth. The philosophy teaches that true contentment is found not in idleness, but in purposeful action aligned with our deepest values. This active engagement with life energizes us, pushing against the inertia of laziness and sparking a transformation that aligns our daily habits with our long-term aspirations. Furthermore, Stoicism offers insights into the art of living well, a concept that transcends mere survival or superficial success. Living well according to Stoic principles involves aligning oneself with virtues such as wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. It's about crafting a life that reflects not only personal satisfaction, but also contributes to the greater good. This holistic approach to living challenges us to elevate our sights from self-centered goals to broader ethical considerations, thereby enriching our lives and the lives of those around us. Lastly, the exploration tackles the fear of judgment and the quest for external validation, which can be paralyzing. Stoicism equips us with the courage to be disliked, to embrace being misunderstood, if it means staying true to one's principles. It teaches that the fear of criticism should never deter us from living authentically. By cultivating indifference to negative judgment while maintaining empathy and openness, we free ourselves from the shackles of public opinion and embrace a life of genuine self-expression. The ultimate guide to fixing your life with Stoicism is more than just a manual. It is a manifesto for profound internal revolution. It challenges you to recalibrate your perceptions, to fortify your will against adversities, and to weave your days with threads of Stoic wisdom. As you embark on this transformative journey, remember that each step taken in understanding and applying these teachings is a step towards a more resilient, more fulfilled, and profoundly peaceful existence. This is not just about fixing what feels broken, but about redefining what it means to live fully. Stoicism doesn't offer a quick fix, but a profound overhaul of the human spirit. It invites you to a life where every challenge is an opportunity for growth, every setback a lesson in resilience, and every success a moment for humility. Welcome to a journey of true change, where philosophy isn't just studied but lived, where life's tumults are met with tranquility, and where the ultimate guide to fixing your life is written by you, one Stoic choice at a time. Understand what is in your control. One of the most central tenets of Stoicism involves distinguishing between what is within our control and what is beyond it. Marcus Aurelius crystallizes this idea with clarity. Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and in one word, whatever are not our own actions. This principle serves as the foundation of Stoic tranquility and effectiveness in handling life's unpredictabilities. So what does this mean in practical terms? Simply put, it means that our internal responses, our decisions on how to act, and our judgments about situations are within our power to control. On the other hand, the outcomes of these actions, as well as external realities such as whether we get sick, how others perceive us, or the state of the economy, lie outside our direct control. This insight is profoundly liberating. It shifts our focus from trying to control the uncontrollable, which leads to frustration and disappointment, to maximizing our influence where we actually can make a difference. For instance, consider a scenario where you are preparing for an important job interview. The Stoic approach would have you focus intensively on preparing your responses, researching the company, and presenting yourself well. These are your controllable factors. Whether the interviewer will like you, decide to hire you, or favor another candidate are not within your direct control. By focusing on your preparation, you exert your efforts where they count most and minimize anxiety about the outcome. To incorporate this Stoic wisdom into your daily life, begin by using a simple visualization technique. The two-column list. On one side, write down what I can control and list items such as your efforts, your behaviors, your attitudes, and your responses. On the other side, write what I cannot control and list items such as others' behaviors, macroeconomic conditions, natural events, and so on. This exercise not only clarifies your thoughts, but also guides your actions, helping you to commit your energy to the aspects of your challenges where you can actually affect change. Engaging in this practice regularly can transform how you approach anxiety and uncertainty. Over time, you'll find that your stress levels decrease as you internalize the only true locus of your control, yourself. This approach doesn't just apply to individual tasks, but extends to larger life goals and daily interactions. By embracing what you can control and letting go of what you cannot, you not only become more effective in achieving your goals, but also cultivate inner peace and resilience against the vicissitudes of life. This Stoic wisdom is not just about coping with life, but thriving in it by recognizing where your true power lies. By practicing these principles, you prepare yourself not just to handle stress and uncertainty better, but to lead a life that is both proactive and reactive in just the right measure. Remember, Stoicism doesn't make the challenges of life vanish, but equips you to deal with them in a far more serene and effective manner. As you implement this technique, observe how your mindset shifts from a focus on fears and frustrations to a focus on action and possibility. This shift is the first critical step in living a life aligned with Stoic wisdom, a life marked not by absence of trouble, but by tranquility through understanding. Live in the present. Marcus Aurelius compels us to focus intently on the present with his straightforward directive. Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment. This sage advice, while seemingly simple, holds a powerful key to peace of mind and effectiveness. Dwelling on past events can lead to regret and sorrow, while obsessing over the future can give rise to anxiety and fear. However, the present moment is invariably the point of control where we can take actionable and mindful steps towards a fulfilling life. Focusing on the present is a fundamental practice in Stoicism, teaching us to harness our energies and attentions in a way that maximizes our immediate engagement and enjoyment. When we anchor our minds to the present, we are not weighed down by past mistakes, nor are we paralyzed by the uncertainty of the future. This focus enhances our ability to make decisions, respond to our environment, and enjoy the richness of life as it unfolds moment by moment. Implementing this can start with mindfulness exercises, which are designed to train the mind to focus on the current experience without judgment. A simple yet effective mindfulness practice is to engage in regular meditation. Meditation involves sitting quietly and paying attention to your breaths, the sensations in your body, or the sounds around you, gently steering your mind back whenever it wanders. This practice can be done for a few minutes daily and can significantly increase your ability to remain anchored in the present moment. Another practical application of living in the present involves decluttering your mental space by focusing on current tasks. This can be achieved by creating a to-do list each morning and methodically working through it, ensuring that each task is given your full attention until completion. This method reduces the mental clutter that multitasking can bring and increases productivity and satisfaction. For example, if you are working on a report, resist the urge to check emails or think about other tasks. By concentrating solely on the report, you not only do a better job but also enjoy a sense of accomplishment and calm when it's completed. Living in the present also means actively removing the distractions that pull you back into the past or push you forward into the future. This could be as simple as limiting your exposure to news that makes you anxious about future events, or avoiding rumination over past interactions that cannot be changed. When you eat, just eat. When you walk, just walk. Fully immerse yourself in the now. This practice of living in the moment is not just about improving personal efficiency or emotional tranquility, it also deepens your relationships. Being present with family, friends, and even colleagues fosters deeper connections because you are truly engaged with them, not distracted by other thoughts or concerns. It shows that you value them enough to give them your most precious asset, your time and undivided attention. By focusing on the present, we do not ignore the past or future but place them in proper perspective where they do not overpower our current experience. Marcus Aurelius' wisdom here is not a call to passivity, but a call to vibrant, active, and mindful engagement with the now. It's about realizing that life is a series of present moments to be lived fully, rather than missed because we were elsewhere in our minds. The serenity and power this brings are profound and liberating, offering a stoic solution to the chaos of modern existence by simplifying it to the moment we are living right now. This shift in focus is transformative, enabling us to meet life's challenges with grace and poise and to enjoy the simple pleasures of life as they occur. As we continue to explore these stoic practices, remember that each step brings us closer to a more peaceful and centered way of being, thoroughly equipped to handle whatever life decides to throw our way. Your mind is your best fortress. Marcus Aurelius provides a profound reminder that should embolden any individual facing adversity. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This statement encapsulates a critical Stoic principle that our greatest strength lies not in altering the external world, but in controlling our internal responses. Our minds are fortresses, and within their walls, we possess the ultimate authority over how we interpret and react to the world outside. Understanding and harnessing this power can significantly alter our experience of life. It's not the events themselves that disturb us, but the views we adopt about them. For instance, if you receive criticism at work, you can either view it as a humiliating rebuke or as valuable feedback that provides an opportunity for growth. The choice of perspective will determine your emotional and practical response. It can cripple you with insecurity or propel you toward enhanced performance and resilience. One powerful technique to manage your perspective is cognitive reframing. This involves consciously shifting your mental perspective on a situation to view it in a more positive or realistic light. For example, if you're stuck in traffic, rather than brooding over the time wasted, reframe it as a gifted period of solitude and a chance to listen to your favorite podcast or music. This shift doesn't change the situation externally, but it does alter its emotional impact by changing how you think about it. Another effective tool is the use of positive affirmations. These are short, powerful statements that, when repeated often, can help to reinforce a positive mental outlook and overwrite the negative, often subconscious narratives we tell ourselves. For example, affirmations like, "I am in control of my responses," or "I choose to find the positive opportunities in everything I encounter," can fortify your mindset against the stresses and shocks of daily life. Let's consider a scenario analysis to illustrate different responses to the same event. Imagine you have just been passed over for a promotion at work. You can respond in several ways. Negative frame. View it as a personal failure, internalize the decision as a reflection of your inadequacies, and carry that resentment and self-doubt into every future endeavor. Positive frame. Interpret it as an opportunity to identify areas for personal growth. Use it as a motivator to seek constructive feedback, to understand better what skills or experiences you need to develop to be undeniable the next time around. Using affirmations. Remind yourself that your value is not defined by this single event and that you have the power to excel through other avenues. I am capable, and I will continue to prove my worth. In these variations, the external event, the missed promotion, remains the same. However, the internal response, shaped by cognitive reframing and supported by affirmations, dramatically shifts the experience from one of defeat to one of empowered resilience. By viewing our minds as fortresses and actively choosing our responses, we not only protect ourselves from negative emotions, but also turn challenges into stepping stones for personal development. The Stoic practice is especially crucial in our modern era, where external events are often unpredictable and beyond our control. By strengthening our mental fortress, we not only safeguard our peace of mind, but also enhance our ability to navigate life's complexities with agility and optimism. The true challenge and the true power lies in using the mind's ability to transform perspective into an actionable asset, making what seemed insurmountable manageable and what was once distressing a source of strength. This is the essence of living a life not buffeted by the winds of fate, but navigated by the compass of reasoned and responsive thought. Acceptance of fate. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, teaches us a compelling way to confront the inevitable. Accept the things to which fate binds you, And love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart. This guidance is not merely a call for passive resignation, but a profound command to embrace the concept of amor fati, which translates to love of fate. This Stoic philosophy is not about submitting weakly to whatever life throws at us, but rather about celebrating it with vigor, understanding that every event serves a purpose. Amor fati goes beyond mere acceptance. It is about falling in love with whatever happens in life, seeing the good in the inevitable, and viewing every circumstance as an opportunity to experience the full spectrum of existence. It teaches that worry and resistance are counterproductive, and that by embracing our fate, we align ourselves with the natural flow of life. This doesn't mean we seek out suffering or passively accept injustice. Instead, it means we find strength and tranquility in acceptance when change is not possible. This Stoic embrace can significantly alleviate worry, for worry often stems from our desire to control the uncontrollable. When we resist what life offers, we waste our energies on futile anxieties. However, when we accept events as they are, particularly those we cannot change, we can dedicate our efforts towards areas where we can make a difference. Acceptance in this way becomes a form of empowerment. It liberates us from unnecessary burdens and directs our actions and reactions in a more productive and emotionally healthy direction. A practical way to cultivate amor fati is through journaling, a method that can facilitate a deeper understanding and acceptance of life's experiences. Here are some journaling prompts to practice acceptance. What recent event did I find difficult to accept? Describe the situation in detail. What were my initial reactions? Reflect on both emotional and physical responses. In what ways did my resistance to the situation cause further distress? How can I reinterpret the event with acceptance and possibly even love? Consider how this event helps you grow, what it teaches you, or how it might be guiding you towards a path you hadn't considered. What are the potential positives that can emerge from this event? Try to find and elaborate on any silver lining. Moving forward, how can I approach similar events with acceptance and love? Outline actionable steps or mindset shifts that can help you embrace your fate more fully in the future. These exercises are designed to shift your perspective from one of resistance to one of enthusiastic acceptance. Writing down your thoughts and feelings can help process them more clearly and reduce the emotional impact that resistance often exacerbates. This practice not only aids in accepting what has already happened, but also prepares you to face future events with a more resilient and open heart. In embracing amor fati, we find a powerful ally in Marcus Aurelius's Stoicism. This approach does not weaken our resolve, but strengthens it by ensuring that our energies are not wasted on regret or resentment. Instead, we learn to channel our resources toward proactive and positive actions that align with our deep values. Through this, acceptance becomes not a surrender, but a battle strategy tailored to the inevitable challenges of life, allowing us to remain aligned with our purpose and serene amidst chaos. Thus, amor fati transforms our existential posture from one of victimhood to one of heroic affirmation of life, enabling us to live fully and fearlessly no matter what twists and turns we encounter on our path. Minimize your desires. In a poignant reflection on the nature of tranquility, Marcus Aurelius advises, "If you seek tranquility, do less, or, more accurately, do what's essential, what the reason of a social being requires and in the requisite way, which brings a double satisfaction, to do less, better." This instruction not only serves as a guide to efficiency, but also as a philosophical principle for managing desire and complexity in our lives. By focusing on what is truly essential, we can significantly reduce the clutter, both physical and mental, that burdens us, and hone in on what genuinely matters. The essence of minimizing desires is not about deprivation. Rather, it's about aligning closer to our genuine needs and dismissing superficial wants that distract and detract from our contentment. This concept is deeply intertwined with the Stoic idea of virtue being sufficient for happiness. If we can train ourselves to desire less, what we do have and what we do pursue becomes more fulfilling. The less we clutter our lives with unnecessary pursuits, the more space we create for meaningful activities that foster true satisfaction and peace. Simplifying life to focus on essential tasks means identifying the core activities and responsibilities that truly align with your personal and professional values and dedicating yourself fully to these endeavors. This simplification allows you to perform these tasks more effectively and with greater enjoyment. For example, if a key part of your job involves creative thinking, clearing your schedule to provide uninterrupted time for deep work could yield not only better outcomes, but also a more rewarding work process. Reducing desires directly impacts our capacity for worry. Desires, especially those that are material or superficial, often lead to a cycle of endless wanting that can never be fully satisfied. Each unmet desire can become a source of anxiety and discontent. However, when we minimize these desires, we lower the stakes of our day-to-day experiences and become more resilient to disruptions and disappointments. The fewer desires we have, the fewer opportunities for worry to take root. Practically speaking, creating a minimalist schedule involves several steps. Identify your priorities. Clearly define what is most important in your life. This could be your family, your career, your health, or your personal growth. Understand that not everything can be a priority. Evaluate your tasks. For each task you currently undertake, ask whether it aligns with these priorities. If it doesn't, consider minimizing or eliminating it from your schedule. Consolidate and delegate. Where possible, consolidate similar tasks and delegate those that others can do just as well or better. This not only frees up time but also allows others in your team or family to grow and contribute. Set boundaries. Learn to say no to requests and opportunities that do not align with your essential tasks. This protects your time and energy from being dispersed too thinly. Plan for downtime. Equally important is scheduling time to relax and rejuvenate. This isn't wasted time, it's an essential part of maintaining a sustainable pace and ensuring you have the energy for those tasks that truly matter. Reflect regularly. Regularly review your activities and desires. As your circumstances and priorities change, your definition of what is essential might also shift. By incorporating these steps, you transition from being reactive, scattered across numerous unfulfilling activities, to being proactive about what you choose to engage with. This approach not only enhances your productivity and efficiency, but also increases your overall life satisfaction by reducing stress and anxiety associated with trying to do too much. Marcus Aurelius's counsel to do less better is not a call to inaction, but a call to optimal action. It is about maximizing the impact of our efforts by minimizing distractions. This philosophy promotes a life not filled with more, but filled with better. Better work, better relationships, better peace of mind. As we conclude our exploration of these Stoic strategies, let us carry forward this notion of refined simplicity, not just as a method of work, but as a way of living. Through this, we achieve not just temporary calm, but lasting tranquility and a profound connection to the world around us. By understanding and implementing these principles, we arm ourselves with the tools not only to face the challenges of the modern world, but to thrive within it. As we wrap up our exploration of the timeless wisdom imparted by Marcus Aurelius, let's take a moment to recap the profound Stoic strategies that we've discussed. each designed to fortify your life against the inevitable waves of worry and stress. First, we embrace the crucial understanding of what lies within our control and what does not. By focusing solely on our actions, our responses and decisions, we conserve our energy and dedicate ourselves to areas where we can make a real impact. This separation of powers within our own lives not only clarifies our responsibilities, but also reduces the frustration that comes from grappling with the uncontrollable. Next, we ventured into the practice of living in the present. Marcus Aurelius taught us to anchor our thoughts and energies in the now, to alleviate the burdens of past regrets and future anxieties. Through mindfulness and meditation, we can cultivate a powerful presence of mind that enhances our daily experiences and interactions. Our third lesson reinforced the idea that our mind is our greatest fortress. By adopting cognitive reframing and positive affirmations, we learn to shield ourselves from negative influences and maintain a perspective that fosters resilience and strength, regardless of external circumstances. We then delved into the acceptance of fate, or amor fati, a loving embrace of life's experiences as necessary steps in our journey. This acceptance is not a passive resignation, but a dynamic engagement with life, recognizing that each moment, whether joyful or challenging, is a gift that contributes to our growth. Finally, we discussed the importance of minimizing desires to focus on what truly matters. Simplifying our lives by eliminating non-essential tasks and desires frees us up to engage deeply with true priorities, leading to greater productivity, satisfaction, and tranquility. Now, I encourage each of you to take these insights and integrate them into your everyday situations. Whether you're facing stress at work, challenges in personal relationships, or internal conflicts, these Stoic principles provide a robust framework for navigating life's complexities. Implementing these strategies can transform not only how you handle problems, but also how you perceive them, turning obstacles into opportunities for personal development and growth. As you move forward, remember that the path to a worry-free life is not about removing challenges, but about equipping yourself with the tools to handle them effectively. Embrace these Stoic methods, refine them through practice, and watch as they bring a new level of serenity and strength to your life. Let's not just stop at learning these strategies, let's live them. Make them part of your daily routine, your decisions, and your reactions. The journey towards a worry-free life is a continuous one, and each step, each breath taken in accordance with these principles is a step towards mastering the art of living. And so, as we conclude, I urge you not just to think on these teachings, but to act on them. Test them against the complexities of your life, challenge them in the throes of your troubles, and most importantly, trust them to guide you through the tumults with a calm and steady hand. The journey of Stoicism is a journey back to yourself, to a version of you that stands unshaken in the storm, unburnt in the fire, and unwavering in the face of the unknown. Embrace these Stoic methods and start your journey towards a worry-free life. It's a path worth exploring, a life worth living, and a peace worth achieving. Let's walk this path together, with Marcus Aurelius as our guide, and transform the philosophy of Stoicism from ancient texts into modern practice. Remember, the best time to begin is now, and the best way to predict your future is to create it. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Let's strive not just to survive our days, but to live them fully, consciously, and deliberately. Be bold, be stoic, and let's make our lives our greatest masterpiece. Have you ever wondered why some days you feel unstoppable, while others you can't seem to get off the couch? Why do these bouts of laziness seem to sneak up just when you need motivation the most? Imagine conquering this inertia not just for a day, but transforming it into a sustained drive that powers every aspect of your life. Today we're diving deep into a universal struggle, overcoming laziness to feel more empowered and in control. By the end of this video, you'll have not just an understanding, but a set of actionable strategies that can significantly alter how you approach your daily routines and challenges. Why is this important? Because the difference between feeling stuck and moving forward lies in the small decisions and changes we are willing to implement. But first, let's talk about why this topic is so crucial. Laziness isn't just about being idle or procrastinating on tasks. It's often a complex interplay of lack of motivation, fear, overwhelming feelings, and poor planning. Each of these factors feeds into the cycle of inactivity, creating a barrier that seems insurmountable. Breaking this cycle means understanding its roots and applying targeted approaches to eradicate them. My journey with laziness has been as real as anyone's. There were days I found myself glued to my chair, mindlessly scrolling through my phone, wasting hours with nothing to show for it. The turning point came when I realized that small, consistent changes could lead to significant transformations. I began by setting achievable goals, which gradually led to larger, more ambitious ones. Each step forward boosted my confidence and diminished the hold laziness had on my life. Sharing these experiences and solutions with you isn't just about giving advice, it's about offering a proven pathway that has worked not only for myself, but for countless others who have faced similar struggles. As we delve into the heart of this video, we will explore 5 key reasons that contribute to laziness and provide you with strategies to counteract each one. Whether it's the lack of clear goals that leaves you directionless, or the daunting size of tasks that paralyzes your start, each point will be addressed with practical philosophical insights aimed at reshaping your perspective and actions. We will also tackle the fears that prevent us from stepping out of our comfort zones and the poor time management skills that exacerbate our procrastination. Why should you stick around until the end? Because we're not just scratching the surface with general tips like just get organized or stop procrastinating. We are going deeper, uncovering the roots of laziness and equipping you with philosophical insights and psychological tools that will empower you to initiate and sustain change. The strategies discussed today are tailored to foster long-term improvements in how you manage your energy, focus your efforts, and ultimately, how you perceive and tackle tasks. This isn't about quick fixes, it's about building a foundation that supports lifelong productivity and fulfillment. What exactly is laziness? Often, we quickly label someone as lazy if they aren't achieving as much as we think they should, or if they spend a lot of time engaging in leisure activities. However, laziness is not just a simple refusal to work or an aversion to activity. At its core, laziness can be seen as a lack of motivation to engage in necessary or meaningful tasks, even when one has the capability to do so. This definition helps us see laziness not just as a personal failing, but as a complex behavior that might have deeper roots. It's crucial to distinguish laziness from other conditions that might mimic its appearance. For instance, someone might seem lazy because they're always tired or disinterested in activity, but these symptoms could also indicate underlying health issues like depression or chronic fatigue syndrome. Depression often dampens motivation and drains energy, making even simple tasks seem daunting. Fatigue, whether physical or mental, can also cripple one's ability to perform tasks that require effort. Unlike laziness, these conditions are not about a lack of willingness, but rather a decrease in one's capacity to act due to mental health struggles or physical limitations. One of the biggest myths about laziness is that it's merely a lack of willpower. This view oversimplifies the issue and can be damaging, leading to harsh judgments and self-criticism. It implies that if only individuals tried harder, they could easily overcome their inertia. However, this is not always the case. Laziness is often a symptom rather than the main problem. For example, if someone finds a task unrewarding or pointless, their reluctance to engage isn't a matter of willpower. It's a reaction to the perceived lack of value in the task. Similarly, if the task is too complex or ambiguous, the delay in starting or completing the task isn't laziness, but a natural response to uncertainty. Another common misconception is that lazy people are unproductive in all areas of life, which is often not true. Many people might choose to exert their efforts selectively, focusing intensely on activities they find meaningful or enjoyable, while neglecting others. This selective focus isn't laziness, it's a prioritization of interests and values, which can actually be a rational decision-making process. From a psychological standpoint, laziness can be linked to various cognitive and emotional factors. One key concept is the theory of learned helplessness, which is a condition in which a person feels powerless to change their situation due to repeated failures. This feeling of helplessness can lead to a lack of effort because the individual believes that no amount of effort will change their circumstances. Another psychological factor is the concept of delay discounting, where people are more likely to choose immediate, smaller rewards over larger, delayed ones. This can make long-term goals seem less appealing, fostering procrastination and so-called laziness. Moreover, the way we are conditioned from a young age also plays a significant role in how we approach tasks as adults. For instance, if someone was frequently criticized instead of encouraged during their formative years, they might develop a fear of failure that makes them hesitant to try new or challenging tasks. This isn't laziness, but a protective mechanism to avoid negative emotions and self-perceptions. Additionally, motivational psychology introduces us to the idea of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. People who are intrinsically motivated perform activities for the sake of the activity itself because they find it rewarding. In contrast, extrinsically motivated individuals engage in activities for external rewards or pressures, such as grades or approval from others. When intrinsic motivation is low and external incentives are absent or insufficient, what looks like laziness might actually be a lack of compelling reasons to engage in the activity. By understanding these psychological principles, we can better understand why simply trying harder isn't always the answer to overcoming laziness. Instead, addressing the underlying causes, whether they are emotional, cognitive, or situational, can lead to more effective solutions. One of the fundamental reasons behind what we often perceive as laziness is the lack of clear goals. Without a specific target or objective in mind, it becomes difficult to muster the energy or enthusiasm to take action. Imagine trying to hit a target that you can't see. No matter how many times you shoot, your chances of hitting it are slim. This analogy captures the frustration and futility that can accompany unclear or undefined goals. When goals are vague, motivation wanes because you don't have a clear direction or endpoint in mind. This lack of direction can lead to aimless wandering or procrastination, as there's no compelling why driving your actions. Without a strong why, even simple tasks can seem overwhelming or unnecessary, leading individuals to avoid them altogether, thus being labeled as lazy. From a philosophical standpoint, the concept of having a purpose or existential drive is central to human motivation and action. Philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche and Viktor Frankl have emphasized the importance of having a clear purpose in life. Nietzsche's idea of the will to power suggests that our primary drive is to maximize our own power and potential. In this context, clear goals give individuals a sense of direction and a way to channel their energies constructively, fulfilling their desire to achieve and grow. Viktor Frankl, on the other hand, proposed that finding meaning in life is the primary motivational force in humans. He suggested that when people have a clear sense of what they want to achieve, particularly goals that contribute to a larger purpose or meaning, they are more resilient and motivated to overcome obstacles. These philosophical insights underscore the importance of having goals that are not only clear, but also meaningful. When goals align with personal values and contribute to a greater purpose, they become more compelling and motivating. This alignment energizes individuals, propelling them towards action and away from the inertia that is often mistaken for laziness. The first step in setting clear, achievable goals is to define what success looks like for you personally. This means taking the time to reflect on what you truly want to achieve and why it matters. A useful tool in this process is the SMART criteria, where goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. By ensuring your goals meet these criteria, you can increase the clarity and achievability of each objective. Specific. Your goal should be clear and specific, so you know exactly what you're working towards. For example, instead of saying, "I want to get better at math," a more specific goal would be, "I want to improve my math grade from a B to an A by the end of the semester." Measurable. You need to be able to track your progress towards your goal. In the math example, the measurable aspect is the improvement in grades that can be observed and quantified. Achievable. Your goal should be realistic and attainable to be successful in achieving it. This doesn't mean that you can't set high goals, but rather that the goals should not be out of reach. For instance, setting a goal to win a Nobel Prize in your first year of undergraduate study is not as achievable as aiming to contribute to a research project in your field of study. Relevant. The goal should align with your broader life goals and values. If you value academic achievement because it opens doors to good colleges and future job opportunities, then improving your grades is a relevant goal. Time-bound. Every goal should have a deadline or a time frame that specifies when you aim to complete it. The deadline serves as a motivator, encouraging you to plan and execute your actions efficiently. By setting goals that are SMART, you provide yourself with a clear roadmap to follow, which enhances your motivation to take action. Regularly reviewing these goals and adjusting them as needed can also help maintain your focus and commitment. Achieving smaller goals can boost your confidence, reduce feelings of overwhelm by breaking down larger tasks, and reinforce the habit of productivity, which collectively help to dissipate the cloud of laziness and inaction. When faced with large, daunting tasks, it's common to feel paralyzed, unsure where to begin or how to proceed. This paralysis isn't just about feeling overwhelmed, it's a psychological response that can trigger a freeze reaction. In the face of a big project, such as writing a term paper, organizing a community event, or even cleaning a cluttered garage, the brain can interpret these tasks as threats, creating anxiety and stress. This response is similar to what animals experience in the wild when confronted with danger. Instead of fleeing or fighting, however, humans often procrastinate. This delay is not due to laziness, but rather an instinctual reaction to what is perceived as an insurmountable task. The sheer scale of a project can cloud our ability to see the individual steps involved, leading us to avoid the task entirely, often misinterpreted as laziness. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism provides valuable insights into handling overwhelming tasks. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca focused on control and rationality, teaching that we should focus only on what is within our power to change and accept what we cannot influence. Applying this to large tasks, Stoicism encourages the practice of chunking or breaking tasks into smaller, more manageable parts. This approach aligns with their teachings on working with nature, including our natural limitations of focus and energy. By dividing a large task into smaller pieces, we reduce the mental and emotional load, making the task seem less daunting and more approachable. Each small task accomplished provides a sense of progress and control, which are key to maintaining motivation and reducing the stress that can come from taking on big projects. To effectively break down overwhelming tasks into manageable chunks, several techniques can be employed. One of the most popular and scientifically supported methods is the Pomodoro technique, developed by Francesco Cirillo in the late 1980s. This technique uses a timer to break work into intervals, traditionally 25 minutes in length, separated by short breaks. Here's how you can apply it. Identify the task. Start with a clear definition of the overall task at hand. For instance, if the task is to prepare for an important exam, the first step is to clearly outline what subjects or topics need to be covered. Break it down. Divide the main task into smaller specific actions. Using the exam preparation example, this could mean creating a list of individual study sessions focused on specific chapters or concepts. Set the Pomodoro timer. Begin a 25-minute work session on just one of the smaller tasks. The key is to focus solely on that small part without thinking about the entirety of the project. Take a short break. After each session, take a 5-minute break. This helps to keep the mind fresh and prevents burnout. During this break, avoid thinking about the task and do something completely unrelated like stretching or having a snack. Repeat and review. Continue with subsequent Pomodoros, each followed by a short break. After 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break of about 15 to 30 minutes. This longer break allows the brain to recover and consolidate the information or progress made. Adjust as needed. As you work through the tasks, adjust your chunks or Pomodoros based on what's working or not. Flexibility is key to managing large tasks effectively. Beyond the Pomodoro technique, another useful strategy is to visualize the task as a series of steps on a ladder. Each rung represents a smaller, achievable goal. As you climb each rung, you not only move closer to completing the overall task, but also build momentum and confidence. This ladder method helps maintain a clear perspective on progress and ensures that each step is actionable and within reach. Fear of failure is a powerful deterrent that can lead to procrastination and avoidance behaviors. This fear stems from the anticipation of negative outcomes, such as embarrassment, loss of respect, or a sense of incompetence, which can be so overwhelming that it paralyzes action. When faced with the possibility of failing, many people choose not to try at all, believing that no attempt is safer than a failed one. This avoidance is a protective mechanism, shielding one from the immediate emotional discomfort of failure. However, it also prevents learning and growth, keeping individuals in a safe but stagnant position. This cycle of fear and inaction can manifest in various ways, from delaying starting a project to avoiding challenging tasks altogether. The irony of this fear is that by avoiding failure, one also avoids success, as both are often found on the same path. Existentialism, a philosophy that emphasizes individual freedom, choice, and existence, offers a unique perspective on failure. Prominent existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre and Friedrich Nietzsche have argued that failure is an inevitable part of defining oneself and one's values. According to existentialism, the essence of life is not found in avoiding failure, but in how we respond to it. This philosophy encourages embracing failure as a crucial element of the human experience, a tool for self-discovery and personal growth. Nietzsche's concept of amor fati, or love of one's fate, is particularly relevant here. He suggests that we should not only accept but also love everything that happens in our lives, including our failures. By adopting this mindset, failure becomes not just an accepted outcome, but a welcomed one, as each failure provides invaluable lessons and opportunities for growth. This radical acceptance can transform our approach to challenges, making us more resilient and open to experiences, regardless of their outcome. To effectively overcome the fear of failure, one must redefine their relationship with failure itself. Adopting a growth mindset, a concept popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck, is crucial in this transformation. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. This perspective views failure not as a reflection of inherent incapabilities, but as a natural step in the learning process. Here are some practical steps to cultivate a growth mindset and redefine failure. Reframe failure. Begin by changing how you perceive failure. Instead of seeing it as a negative endpoint, view it as a form of feedback or a learning opportunity. For example, if you fail a test, instead of concluding that you're not good at the subject, analyze what went wrong and what you can do differently next time. Set learning goals. Instead of focusing solely on performance goals, for example, getting an A on a test, set learning goals. For example, understanding a concept thoroughly. This shift focuses your attention on the process rather than just the outcome, reducing the pressure associated with fear of failure. Celebrate effort, not just outcome. Recognize and reward effort, not just success. Celebrating the hard work you put into a task, regardless of the outcome, reinforces the value of persistence and effort. Encourage reflection. After a setback, take time to reflect on what happened. Ask yourself what you learned from the experience and how you can use this knowledge to improve. This reflective practice can help build resilience and a deeper understanding of your capabilities. Expose yourself to challenges. Regularly stepping out of your comfort zone and facing challenges can desensitize you to the fear of failure. Start with smaller challenges and gradually increase the difficulty as you become more comfortable with the possibility of failing. By embracing these strategies, you can begin to see failure as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. This shift in perception not only alleviates the fear of failure, but also enhances your capacity to pursue goals with courage and confidence. Motivation is the driving force that compels us to take action and pursue our goals. However, there are times when this drive dwindles, leaving individuals feeling listless and unmotivated. Understanding why people sometimes lack motivation requires examining several psychological and environmental factors. One primary reason is the absence of intrinsic motivation, which is the motivation that comes from within, driven by interest and enjoyment in the task itself. When activities are performed solely for external rewards, such as money, grades, or approval, they may not engage one's deeper interests or fulfill personal values, leading to a reduction in motivation. Another significant factor is the lack of autonomy. When people feel they have no choice or control over their actions, their intrinsic motivation can decrease. This is often seen in educational or workplace settings where the emphasis is on compliance and adherence to rules, rather than on fostering an environment where individuals can choose tasks that align with their interests and skills. Additionally, a perceived lack of competence can also undermine motivation. If individuals feel that they lack the skills necessary to perform a task effectively, or if the task is too far beyond their current abilities, motivation can wane due to a sense of futility or fear of failure. Friedrich Nietzsche's views on motivation can be particularly enlightening in this context. Nietzsche believed in the power of the will to power as a fundamental motivational force, arguing that striving to maximize one's power and potential is at the core of human motivation. This perspective encourages individuals to seek challenges that foster growth and self-overcoming, rather than avoiding them due to fear or complacency. Nietzsche's idea implies that finding tasks that challenge us and align with our personal growth can significantly enhance motivation. In contemporary motivational psychology, theories like self-determination theory echo some of these ideas. SDT posits that optimal motivation is achieved when three basic psychological needs are met: autonomy, the need to feel in control of one's actions; competence, the need to feel capable and effective; and relatedness, the need to feel connected to others. When these needs are satisfied, individuals experience enhanced self-motivation and well-being, suggesting that environments that support these needs will see higher levels of engagement and motivation from individuals. To increase motivation, particularly intrinsic motivation, it's crucial to connect with personal motivators and create environments that foster autonomy, competence, and relatedness. Here are some practical tips to achieve this. Identify personal interests and passions. Spend time reflecting on activities that you find enjoyable and fulfilling. Integrating these interests into your daily tasks can help enhance intrinsic motivation. For example, if you enjoy creative writing, try to incorporate this skill into routine assignments or projects. Set personal goals. Align your activities with your personal goals and values. Goals that resonate personally are more motivating than those imposed from outside. Make sure these goals are challenging yet achievable to maintain your engagement and interest. Seek challenges. Just as Nietzsche suggested, engaging in challenges that push you to grow can be incredibly motivating. Choose tasks that stretch your abilities but are within your reach. Overcoming these challenges can lead to a sense of accomplishment and boost your motivation to tackle new goals. Cultivate a supportive environment. Surround yourself with people who encourage and support your efforts. Having a network of supportive individuals can fulfill your need for relatedness and provide encouragement during challenging times. Enhance autonomy. Whenever possible, seek ways to have a say in the tasks you undertake or the methods you use. Autonomy is a powerful motivator because it gives you a sense of control over your activities and decisions. Celebrate small wins. Recognizing and celebrating progress, even if small, can boost your sense of competence and reinforce your motivation. Make a habit of acknowledging your successes and learning from your setbacks. By employing these strategies, you can create a motivational environment that not only drives you to achieve your goals, but also aligns with your personal values and interests, leading to a more fulfilling and engaging experience. Poor time management can be a significant contributor to feelings of laziness and unproductivity. When individuals struggle to manage their time effectively, tasks often pile up, deadlines loom, and a sense of overwhelm sets in. This overwhelm can lead to procrastination and avoidance behaviors as individuals feel ill-equipped to tackle the mounting workload. Furthermore, poor time management can create a cycle of inefficiency, where tasks take longer to complete than necessary due to disorganization or lack of prioritization. This inefficiency can exacerbate feelings of frustration and inadequacy, further diminishing motivation and productivity. In essence, poor time management not only leads to wasted time but also contributes to a sense of helplessness and inertia, which are often mistaken for laziness. The philosophical implications of time and productivity have long been pondered by thinkers throughout history. In ancient philosophy, time was often seen as a limited and precious resource, to be used wisely and purposefully. Philosophers like Seneca emphasized the importance of seizing the present moment and making the most of our time on earth. This perspective suggests that wasting time through poor time management is not just a practical concern, but also a moral one, as it represents a failure to fulfill our potential and live up to our responsibilities. From a more contemporary perspective, productivity has become closely intertwined with notions of self-worth and success. In a society that values efficiency and output, the ability to manage one's time effectively is often equated with personal competence and value. This can create added pressure on individuals to perform and achieve, leading to feelings of guilt or inadequacy when time is not utilized optimally. In this context, poor time management can be seen not only as a practical obstacle but also as a philosophical quandary, raising questions about the nature of productivity and its relationship to personal identity and fulfillment. While understanding the various reasons behind laziness and implementing strategies to overcome them is crucial, the real challenge lies in integrating these changes into one's daily lifestyle. It's not enough to simply know what needs to be done. Consistency and application are key to long-term success. Integrating these strategies into your routine is like building a strong foundation for a house. It provides stability and support for future growth and development. By making these changes habitual, they become second nature, reducing the effort required to maintain them and increasing the likelihood of sustained success. The journey towards overcoming laziness and improving productivity is not a sprint but a marathon. It requires patience, perseverance, and a long-term perspective. The strategies discussed earlier are not quick fixes, but rather tools for building lasting habits that support a productive and fulfilling lifestyle. Research in behavioral psychology suggests that it takes an average of 66 days for a new behavior to become automatic, indicating that consistent application over time is essential for habit formation. By consistently applying the strategies outlined in this video, individuals can gradually rewire their brains and behaviors, making productivity and motivation a natural part of their daily lives. Over time, these habits become ingrained, requiring less conscious effort to maintain. As habits solidify, individuals experience greater ease and efficiency in their tasks, leading to increased confidence and satisfaction. Moreover, the benefits of habit formation extend beyond productivity. They also contribute to overall well-being and quality of life. To integrate these changes into your lifestyle, it's essential to establish daily habits that support productivity and combat laziness. Here are some practical suggestions. Morning routine. Start your day with a structured morning routine that sets a positive tone for the rest of the day. This could include activities such as meditation, exercise, journaling, or planning your day ahead. A consistent morning routine helps to jumpstart your energy and focus, making it easier to tackle tasks later on. Task prioritization. Use a to-do list or planner to prioritize your tasks for the day. Identify the most important and urgent tasks and tackle them first, while leaving less critical tasks for later. This helps to prevent overwhelm and ensures that you're focusing your energy on activities that will yield the greatest impact. Time blocking. Allocate specific blocks of time for different tasks or activities throughout the day. This helps to create structure and discipline in your schedule, reducing the likelihood of procrastination and ensuring that you're making progress towards your goals. Regular breaks. Incorporate regular breaks into your day to rest and recharge. Research shows that taking short breaks can actually improve productivity and concentration, as it allows your brain to reset and refocus. Use breaks to engage in activities that relax and rejuvenate you, such as going for a walk, practicing deep breathing, or enjoying a healthy snack. Reflective practice. At the end of each day, take some time to reflect on your accomplishments and challenges. Celebrate your successes, no matter how small, and identify areas for improvement. This reflective practice helps to reinforce positive behaviors and allows you to make adjustments to your approach as needed. Consistent bedtime. Prioritize getting enough sleep and establish a consistent bedtime routine. Adequate rest is essential for cognitive function, mood regulation, and overall well-being. Aim for 7-9 hours of sleep per night and create a relaxing bedtime routine to signal to your body that it's time to wind down. By incorporating these daily habits into your lifestyle, you can create a supportive environment that fosters productivity and combats laziness. Remember, consistency is key. Small, consistent actions over time lead to significant changes and long-term success. Today we've explored the multifaceted nature of laziness and uncovered strategies to overcome its grip on our lives. From understanding the psychological roots of laziness to implementing practical techniques for improvement, we've delved into various aspects of this pervasive issue. Let's recap the key points discussed. We began by dissecting the concept of laziness, distinguishing it from other conditions, and debunking common misconceptions. Understanding that laziness is often a symptom rather than a character flaw lays the groundwork for effective intervention. Next, we explored the importance of clear goals in combating laziness, drawing on philosophical insights to underscore the significance of purpose and direction in our lives. By setting smart goals and aligning them with our values, we empower ourselves to overcome inertia and strive for meaningful achievements. We then tackled the paralysis induced by overwhelming tasks, incorporating Stoic principles and practical techniques to break down daunting projects into manageable steps. By adopting the Pomodoro technique and embracing challenges, we can navigate complex endeavors with confidence and efficiency. Fear of failure emerged as another significant barrier to productivity, prompting us to embrace failure as a catalyst for growth rather than a deterrent. By cultivating a growth mindset and reframing our relationship with failure, we can harness its transformative power to propel us forward. Poor time management also came under scrutiny, highlighting the importance of prioritization and discipline in maximizing our productivity. Integrating daily habits such as time blocking and reflective practice into our routines fosters a sense of structure and purpose, reducing the likelihood of succumbing to laziness. In the quest to combat laziness, the journey doesn't end with knowledge, it begins with action. I urge you to take these strategies to heart and apply them in your own lives. Whether you're a student striving for academic success, a professional navigating the complexities of the workplace, or simply an individual seeking personal growth, the principles outlined in this video are universally applicable. Remember, change doesn't happen overnight. It's the cumulative effect of small, consistent actions that leads to profound transformation. Commit to implementing these strategies daily, even when the going gets tough. Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth and never lose sight of your intrinsic worth and potential. Let us heed the words of Winston Churchill. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. With courage and determination, we can overcome laziness and unlock our fullest potential. So, go forth and seize the day, knowing that greatness awaits those who dare to defy inertia and pursue their dreams. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the fast-paced modern world? Have you sought a sense of tranquility amidst chaos, or clarity in the face of uncertainty? What if I told you that there is a path, a way of life, that could provide you with the tools to navigate the challenges of life with equanimity and resilience? That path is Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that is as relevant today as it was 2,000 years ago. Stoicism is an enduring philosophy that originated in the Hellenistic period, but its timeless wisdom resonates powerfully in today's world. Stoicism teaches us how to lead a fulfilling life, how to manage our emotions, and how to face adversity with strength and poise. It advises us to focus on what's within our control and accept what's beyond it. And one of the greatest exponents of this school of thought was Seneca, a prominent Stoic philosopher from Rome. Born in the year 4 BC, Seneca was a man of many talents, a philosopher, statesman, dramatist, and in one part of his life, an advisor to the Emperor Nero. But what we remember him most for today, and what has influenced generations of thinkers, leaders, and everyday people alike, is his profound philosophical writings. His philosophical works have stood the test of time, providing guidance and insights that remain astonishingly applicable to the challenges we face today. Among his various contributions, Letters from a Stoic stands out as an especially powerful piece. It's a compilation of 124 letters that Seneca wrote to his friend Lucilius, where he shared his wisdom, reflections, and advice on a range of topics. These letters offer a rich tapestry of wisdom, a timeless guide to the art of living well. They remind us of the importance of virtue, the significance of living in the moment, the power of resilience in the face of adversity, and much more. These lessons from Seneca are not just theoretical musings. They are practical pieces of advice that we can apply in our daily lives. They offer a roadmap for us, a guide on how to lead a good life, how to find peace in a chaotic world, how to deal with adversity and hardship, how to cultivate true friendships, and how to find happiness in our lives. As we embark on this journey into the heart of Stoicism through Seneca's letters, it is crucial to understand the applicability and significance of these teachings in our contemporary times. The world we live in today is vastly different from Seneca's Rome, but the human condition, our hopes, fears, challenges, and emotions remain fundamentally the same. In an era of information overload, where our senses are continuously bombarded with distractions, the Stoic principle of focusing on what's within our control becomes a beacon of clarity. It helps us declutter our minds, guiding us to direct our energies on our actions and responses rather than fretting over external circumstances. This principle can not only enhance our productivity, but also bring a sense of calm and serenity in the midst of chaos. Our modern society often equates success with material wealth and social status. However, Seneca's letters remind us that true wealth and happiness stem from virtue and wisdom. These teachings encourage us to redefine our notions of success, to strive for personal growth, ethical living, and meaningful relationships, thereby fostering a deep and lasting sense of fulfillment. Moreover, in a world that tends to shy away from discussions about mortality, Seneca's frank discourse on life and death is refreshingly insightful. His views encourage us to confront and contemplate our mortality, allowing us to live more purposefully, cherishing each moment, and making the most of our finite lives. Furthermore, as mental health issues become increasingly prevalent, Seneca's advice on managing our emotions, from anger and fear to anxiety and sadness, offers valuable strategies. His teachings on emotional resilience, self-discipline, and the power of rational thought can serve as crucial tools in our psychological toolkit. The lessons we're about to explore are far from obsolete philosophical thoughts. They are practical, powerful, and profoundly relevant to our modern lives. They offer timeless wisdom that can guide us in navigating our complex world with equanimity, courage, and wisdom. Seneca, like many Stoics, held a transformative perspective on adversity. He viewed it not as a hindrance, but as a necessary part of life that could foster personal growth and resilience. In one of his letters he wrote, "Fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men." This analogy beautifully encapsulates Seneca's stance on hardships. Just as gold is refined through fire, It is through facing and overcoming adversities that our character is tested and strengthened. This statement is not an invitation to seek out hardship for hardship's sake. It is a call to shift our perspective on the difficulties we encounter. It is about finding the strength and resolve within ourselves to endure tough times and emerge on the other side, not just intact, but stronger and wiser. How then do we apply this wisdom to our modern lives? Let's start with an example. Consider the global pandemic that swept across the world. For many, it was an intense period of adversity. It brought along physical health threats, mental health challenges, financial instability, and a profound sense of uncertainty. However, it also served as a test, a fire, if you will, that allowed individuals, communities, and even nations to display resilience, innovate, and evolve. We've seen people adapt to working from home, businesses shift to digital platforms, communities come together to support each other, and healthcare systems innovate rapidly to combat the virus. On a personal level, hardships could take the form of a lost job, the end of a relationship, or a health scare. These are undoubtedly painful experiences, but they also provide opportunities for growth. Losing a job could open the door to finding a more fulfilling career or even starting your own business. The end of a relationship could lead to a period of self-discovery and self-improvement. A health scare might serve as a wake-up call to start prioritizing your well-being and make healthier lifestyle choices. In all these situations, the Stoic approach is not to ignore or suppress the pain. It's about acknowledging the pain, accepting the reality of the situation, and then using it as a catalyst for change and growth. It's about realizing that while we cannot always control what happens to us, we have control over how we respond. Now, this doesn't mean that navigating hardships will be easy, but Seneca's teachings offer us an empowering perspective. It's a perspective that reframes adversity from being a blockade to a stepping stone, a test that refines us and makes us stronger. It's a perspective that encourages us to face challenges head-on with courage and resilience. Let's remember that hardships are not necessarily hindrances, but can be powerful catalysts for personal growth. So the next time you face adversity, remember Seneca's words: fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men. You have the strength within you to navigate life's hardships, and each challenge you overcome is an opportunity to become a stronger, wiser version of yourself. One of Seneca's most profound teachings revolves around the concept of time. He provides us with a stark reminder of its fleeting nature in his letter, stating, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. Life is long enough, and a sufficiently generous amount has been given to us for the highest achievements, if it were all well invested." This insight challenges our usual perceptions, suggesting that life isn't inherently short, but it becomes so when we squander the time given to us. In our modern, fast-paced world, this lesson rings especially true. We often find ourselves running from one commitment to another, so caught up in our routines and future plans that we fail to appreciate the present. We delay our happiness for some distant future, thinking, "I'll be happy when I get that promotion," or "I'll enjoy life when I retire." But Seneca urges us to reconsider this approach. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living in the present moment, cherishing the here and now, instead of constantly worrying about the past or the future. This doesn't mean we shouldn't plan for the future or learn from the past, but it does mean that we should strive to make the most of each moment, recognizing that time, once gone, cannot be reclaimed. But how does this relate to our lives today, and how can we apply Seneca's wisdom to our life? Firstly, we can practice mindfulness, the art of being fully engaged in the present moment. Whether you're working, spending time with loved ones, or simply enjoying a quiet moment alone, try to be fully present, savoring the experience without distraction. This not only allows you to appreciate each moment more deeply, but can also improve your focus, productivity, and overall well-being. Secondly, reflect on your daily activities and routines. Are there areas where you're wasting time on unfulfilling or unnecessary tasks? Can you delegate, eliminate, or streamline these activities to free up more time for what truly matters to you? Remember, every minute spent on something meaningless is a minute taken away from something meaningful. Thirdly, cultivate a sense of gratitude for the time you have. Instead of bemoaning the quick passage of time, appreciate each day, each hour, and even each breath, recognizing them as the precious gifts they are. Finally, ensure that you're not just living for the future. Set goals and strive for them, but don't forget to find joy and fulfillment in the journey towards those goals. After all, life is happening right now, in the present moment. Seneca's reflection on the shortness of life is a powerful wake-up call for all of us. It's a call to stop wasting time, to stop postponing our happiness for the future, and to start living fully in the present. It's a call to remember that our time is limited and to make the most of the time we have. In the end, it's not about how much time we have, but how we choose to use it. As Seneca reminds us, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. So let's strive to make each moment count, living fully in the present and making the most of the precious time we have. In his wide-ranging exploration of life and philosophy, Seneca didn't leave out the significance of human relationships. He held a deep understanding of the human need for connection, and his thoughts on friendship remain particularly resonant today. He said, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood." This simple yet profound observation is packed with wisdom about the nature and importance of genuine friendship. At its core, this statement underscores empathy as the cornerstone of any true friendship or relationship. To understand and to be understood means to share a deep sense of mutual empathy, a willingness to listen and to share, to perceive the world through another's eyes, and to let them see through yours. So how does this ancient wisdom hold up in our modern context? Firstly, we must understand that true friendships are not formed merely by spending time together or sharing common interests. The essence of a meaningful relationship lies in empathy, in understanding each other's joys, pains, ambitions, fears, and most importantly, offering support and compassion through all life's ups and downs. In an era where we are increasingly connected digitally, yet risk being emotionally distant, it becomes essential to nurture these deep, understanding relationships. Despite our busy schedules, we must strive to invest time and energy into these bonds. This might mean having heart-to-heart conversations, being there for each other in times of need, or simply sharing moments of joy and laughter together. Secondly, Seneca's wisdom invites us to reflect on our existing relationships. Are they based on mutual understanding and empathy, or are they superficial? Are we maintaining relationships that drain us, or are we surrounded by people who understand and uplift us? Remember, it's the quality of our friendships, not the quantity, that truly counts. Lastly, Seneca's quote is not merely about being understood, but also about understanding others. This means we should strive to be good listeners, to be compassionate, to understand others without judgment. It's about making a conscious effort to understand their perspectives, their feelings, and their experiences. It's about cultivating empathy and letting it guide our interactions. In a world where misunderstandings often lead to conflicts, practicing this kind of understanding and empathy can lead to stronger, more fulfilling relationships. It can foster deeper connections, not just with our friends, but with our family members, colleagues, and even the strangers we interact with. Seneca's wisdom reminds us of the power of understanding and being understood. It reminds us that at the heart of every great friendship lies mutual empathy. So let's take Seneca's advice to heart and strive to build friendships based on understanding and empathy. As we foster such relationships, we not only enrich our own lives but also bring joy and understanding into the lives of others. In this way, we create a ripple effect of positivity and connection, building a world that understands and is understood. Seneca's teachings encompass various facets of life, including emotional management, specifically dealing with anger. He astutely observes, "There is no more stupefying thing than anger, nothing more bent on its own strength." This lesson from Seneca is a testament to the Stoic practice of exercising control over one's emotional state, and it offers valuable insights on managing what can be one of the most destructive emotions, anger. Seneca posits anger as a self-obsessed and self-sustaining emotion. When we're angry, we become trapped within the confines of our own emotion, often leading to irrational decisions and actions that we later regret. Anger, in Seneca's view, is not just another emotion, it is a consuming and obstructive force that impedes our judgment and tranquility. In the heat of the moment, it's all too easy to surrender to anger's strength. But how do we apply Seneca's wisdom to prevent this? How can we, as modern individuals living in an often stress-filled and contentious world, better manage our anger? Firstly, Seneca urges us to recognize the self-destructive nature of anger. This understanding is the first step in managing our anger effectively. By acknowledging that anger often harms us more than the ones we are angry at, we can begin to distance ourselves from this powerful emotion, viewing it more objectively. Secondly, we need to cultivate self-awareness. We should strive to identify the triggers that provoke our anger and recognize the physical and mental signs that we're becoming angry. This self-awareness can serve as an early warning system, allowing us to take proactive measures before our anger escalates. Next, once we've identified that we're becoming angry, Seneca's teachings guide us to employ rational thought. The Stoics were firm believers in the power of reason and logic. In moments of anger, we should pause and reflect, using reason to dispel the cloud of rage. Ask yourself, will my anger resolve the situation? Is my reaction proportional to the situation? What would be a more productive response? Additionally, practicing mindfulness and relaxation techniques can also help manage anger. Techniques like deep breathing, progressive muscle relaxation, or even taking a walk can help calm the mind and body, providing a much-needed break from a heated situation. Lastly, adopting a Stoic perspective, we should remind ourselves that we can't control others' actions, only our responses. If someone's actions provoke us, we can choose not to react with anger, but to respond with understanding or, if necessary, firm assertiveness. Managing anger isn't about suppressing our feelings, it's about addressing them in a healthier and more productive way. By applying Seneca's wisdom, we can break free from the destructive cycle of anger, cultivating instead peace of mind and emotional resilience. In essence, Seneca encourages us to see anger for what it truly is, a strong, self-defeating emotion, and arms us with the tools to combat it. It's a lesson in reclaiming our power from anger and channeling it into more constructive avenues. So let us heed his wise words and strive not just to manage our anger, but to rise above it, transforming it into understanding, patience, and ultimately, tranquility. A core tenet of Stoicism, and central to Seneca's teachings, is the notion that virtue is nothing else than right reason. This perspective illuminates virtue as the pinnacle of human ethics and morality, and it reveals Stoicism's profound commitment to moral integrity. But what exactly does Seneca mean when he speaks of virtue and right reason? And how can we integrate these principles? Seneca, like other Stoic philosophers, saw virtue as the highest good, superior to wealth, reputation, pleasure, or even life itself. In his view, the virtuous person lives according to reason and wisdom, treating others with fairness, showing courage in the face of adversity, exercising self-control in the presence of temptation, and displaying wisdom in all aspects of life. So how does one translate the theoretical concept of right reason into daily practice? Firstly, we can cultivate virtue by embracing wisdom and reason as guiding principles in our life. This means making decisions that are not only beneficial to us but also ethical and just. It involves constantly seeking knowledge and understanding, being open to different perspectives, and applying critical thinking to navigate life's complexities. Secondly, Seneca encourages us to reflect on our actions and attitudes. Are they in line with the virtues we aspire to cultivate? Do we exhibit integrity even when no one is watching? Do we choose the right and just path, even when the wrong one might be more convenient or rewarding? Regular self-reflection can help us align our actions with our moral compass, ensuring that we are living in accordance with virtue. Furthermore, cultivating virtue involves practicing empathy and compassion. It requires us to recognize the inherent worth of every individual and to treat others with kindness and respect. It means standing up against injustice, lending a helping hand to those in need, and striving to contribute positively to our communities. Lastly, to live according to right reason, we need to nurture a sense of resilience and equanimity. Life will inevitably throw challenges our way, but a virtuous person faces these challenges with strength and calm, not allowing external circumstances to compromise their moral values. By integrating these principles into our daily lives, we can bring Seneca's teachings to life. We can live in accordance with virtue and right reason, fostering a sense of fulfillment and peace that extends beyond transient pleasures or external achievements. Seneca's emphasis on virtue serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of moral integrity. In a world often driven by materialistic pursuits, his teachings inspire us to prioritize virtue, to strive for moral excellence, and to live in harmony with our highest values. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, let Seneca's wisdom guide us towards a life of virtue, a life guided by right reason, and a life that, in its very essence, embodies the highest good. Seneca, though himself a wealthy man, was known for his untraditional views on wealth and happiness. Contrary to the common notion that equates wealth with happiness, Seneca saw virtue and wisdom as the true sources of happiness. He profoundly said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." This statement, rich in meaning, invites us to rethink our perception of wealth, happiness, and the role adversity plays in our lives. At first glance, this quote might seem counterintuitive. After all, don't we all aspire to lead lives free from hardship and adversity? Yet, Seneca insists that a life untouched by adversity leaves us unhappy and unfulfilled. So what does he mean? Seneca's philosophy highlights that adversity is a catalyst for growth and self-realization. Without adversity, we are not granted the opportunity to test our resilience, to discover our strengths, and to realize our potential. In essence, it is through overcoming challenges that we truly come to understand ourselves and our capabilities. This self-realization, this growth born out of struggle, is where true happiness lies. The pursuit of wealth, on the other hand, often leads us away from this path of self-realization. Wealth can provide comfort and security, but it can also lead to complacency, indulgence, and a sense of entitlement. When we're cushioned by wealth, we might miss the opportunity to test our mettle, to learn, grow, and prove our worth. How can we apply Seneca's teachings to redefine our concepts of wealth and happiness in our modern context? Firstly, Seneca's wisdom encourages us to embrace adversity rather than avoid it. When we face a challenge, instead of seeing it as an obstacle, we can view it as an opportunity to grow and learn. It's about adopting a resilient mindset, a perspective that sees adversity as a stepping stone towards self-improvement. Secondly, we should strive to balance our pursuit of wealth with the cultivation of virtue and wisdom. It's not about rejecting wealth outright, but about ensuring that our quest for material success doesn't overshadow our moral and personal growth. Thirdly, Seneca reminds us that true wealth isn't just about accumulating material possessions. It's about cultivating a rich inner life filled with virtue, wisdom, resilience, and self-realization. In other words, the wealthiest person is not necessarily the one with the most possessions, but the one who has developed a strong character and found peace within themselves. Lastly, Seneca's teachings guide us towards a more nuanced understanding of happiness. Happiness isn't merely the absence of adversity. It's about finding fulfillment and growth amidst life's challenges. It's about embracing life in all its ups and downs and finding joy in the journey of self-discovery. Seneca's perspective on wealth and happiness offers us a much-needed alternative to the materialistic worldview prevalent in our society. It encourages us to seek out the true riches of life: wisdom, virtue, resilience, and self-realization. Let us heed Seneca's wisdom and strive for a life that balances material wealth with inner richness. A life that finds happiness not in the absence of adversity, but in the ability to navigate it with grace, strength, and wisdom. One of the core principles of Stoicism is living in harmony with nature, an idea powerfully encapsulated by Seneca's words. God is near you, He is with you, He is within you. To fully understand the depth of this statement, we need to delve into Stoic philosophy's interpretation of God and nature. In Stoicism, God is often synonymous with nature or the universe, the rational principle that governs the world. Thus, Seneca's quote suggests that we carry within us a spark of the divine, the universal reason, or the logos. Therefore, living in harmony with nature means aligning ourselves with this inherent rationality and the world's natural laws. We must first recognize the inherent rationality within us. As part of nature, we possess the capability of reason, a feature that distinguishes humans. This rationality allows us to discern, understand, and conform to the natural order of things. Therefore, living in harmony with nature involves using our reason to make thoughtful decisions, to differentiate between right and wrong, and to navigate life's challenges. Furthermore, Seneca's quote also prompts us to accept the natural order of the universe. Just like nature has its cycles of birth, growth, decay, and death, so do our lives embody these phases. By understanding and accepting this, we learn to navigate the ebb and flow of life, finding peace in the impermanence of things and appreciating the present moment. In addition, living in harmony with nature means recognizing our interconnectedness with others and the world at large. Just as the elements in nature coexist in a delicate balance, we are part of a broader community of fellow humans, other creatures, and the environment. Therefore, living in accordance with nature requires fostering healthy relationships, contributing positively to our communities, and treating our environment with respect. Lastly, Seneca's words remind us of the divine presence within us, the essence of our true nature. By aligning our actions with our rational nature and universal principles, we honor this inner divinity, leading a life of integrity, virtue, and inner peace. In essence, Seneca's teachings on living in harmony with nature offer a blueprint for a fulfilling life. It encourages us to embrace our rationality, to accept life's natural rhythms, and to acknowledge our interconnectedness with the universe. As we strive to live in accordance with these principles, we draw closer to our truest selves, leading lives of greater wisdom, virtue, and inner harmony. In his writings, Seneca often spoke about the critical role of self-discipline in leading a good life. This perspective is beautifully encapsulated in his quote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Firstly, it's essential to understand what Seneca means by craving more. This craving reflects unchecked desires and appetites, the insatiable longing for more, be it more wealth, more status, or more pleasure. According to Seneca, this constant yearning renders us poor, regardless of how much we possess. It's a poverty of contentment, a lack of self-discipline that leaves us perpetually dissatisfied, always chasing after the next source of gratification. Mastering self-discipline, therefore, is about learning to control these cravings. It's about cultivating a sense of contentment, learning to value what we have, and managing our desires in a way that aligns with virtue and reason. The first step is to recognize and acknowledge our desires. This involves developing a sense of self-awareness and introspection, understanding our motivations, and recognizing when we are being driven by unchecked cravings. Once we've identified these desires, the next step is to evaluate them. Are they reasonable? Do they align with our values and our understanding of what is truly important in life? Or are they merely feeding into a never-ending cycle of wanting more? This evaluation process should not be seen as a one-time activity, but rather a continual practice. It's about consistently reflecting on our desires, assessing their validity, and adjusting our actions accordingly. It's a process of constant self-examination and self-improvement. The final step is to take active measures to manage these desires. This could involve setting boundaries for ourselves, establishing healthy habits, and seeking support when necessary. It's about actively working towards leading a life that is not dominated by cravings, but guided by reason and virtue. Seneca's teachings on self-discipline serve as a powerful reminder that true wealth lies not in possessing more, but in desiring less. It's about finding contentment in what we have and mastering our desires through self-discipline. In the end, the richest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least. As we navigate through the complexities of modern life, may Seneca's wisdom guide us towards mastering self-discipline, managing our desires, and finding true wealth in contentment and virtue. The path may be challenging, but the rewards are immeasurable. Peace of mind, self-respect, and the freedom that comes from no longer being a slave to our desires. Seneca, like many other Stoic philosophers, frequently explored the subject of death, imbuing it with a profound sense of acceptance and tranquility. His views were summarized powerfully in his statement, "Death is the release from all pain and complete relaxation." But what does this Stoic perspective on death entail, and how can it impact our understanding of life and mortality? To comprehend Seneca's perspective, we must first understand the Stoic concept of amor fati, love of one's fate. Stoics encourage us to accept and embrace every aspect of life, including its end. They teach that death, like birth, is a natural part of life, something to be acknowledged rather than feared. His quote, therefore, is a declaration of acceptance. It paints death not as a terrifying end, but as a release, a final relaxation from the trials and tribulations of life. This perspective was not born out of pessimism or a dismissive attitude towards life. Rather, it comes from a deep understanding that all aspects of life, including suffering and pain, are temporary, and death is a natural conclusion to these experiences. Such a perspective on death impacts how we perceive and live our lives. It invites us to live each day fully aware of our mortality, which in turn can make our lives more meaningful and focused. When we fully understand that our time is limited, we begin to appreciate the present moment more deeply and strive to spend our time on what truly matters. Seneca's perspective encourages us to live without the fear of death. It argues that death is not a catastrophe but a natural, inevitable phenomenon. By accepting death, we can relieve ourselves of this fear and live more freely and boldly. It makes us realize that every moment we have is a gift and should be spent wisely. In practical terms, his teachings on death advise us to confront our mortality regularly. Regular reflections on death can make us more resilient in the face of life's challenges, make us appreciate our lives more, and help us prioritize what is genuinely important. It's about developing a mentality that sees death not as an end, but as an integral part of our existence. Seneca's views on death challenge the common narrative that portrays death as the ultimate enemy. Instead, it invites us to see death as a natural part of life's journey, a final release from life's challenges, and a return to the tranquility that existed before birth. So let us approach life with an acceptance of death, not with fear, but with understanding, not with avoidance, but with awareness. For in doing so, we can free ourselves from the fear of death and live life more fully, more courageously, and more meaningfully. Seneca's words offer comfort and a perspective shift, reminding us that death, the final act of our lives, can be faced with the same calm acceptance and understanding with which we face life itself. Among Seneca's timeless wisdom, his guidance on managing fear and anxiety strikes a particular chord, especially in our modern world fraught with uncertainties. His words, "There are more things, Lucilius, likely to frighten us than there are to crush us. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality," encapsulates a powerful insight on human nature and our tendency to be tormented more by our own fears and anxieties than by actual events. To delve into this lesson, we need first to acknowledge that fear and anxiety primarily reside in our minds, often disconnected from our current reality. Our worries are usually about potential future events or regret over past actions, neither of which we can change in the present. Seneca teaches us that it's this projection into the future or the past that feeds our anxieties and fears. Next, Seneca advises us to differentiate between what's in our control and what's not. This is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. By recognizing that many things are outside our control, including most of the future events we worry about, we can begin to let go of the anxiety surrounding them. We can channel our energy into areas where we can make a difference, which are our thoughts, behaviors, and actions in the present. A powerful technique here is practicing mindfulness and present moment awareness. By being fully present, we root ourselves in reality, reducing the tendency to project our fears into an imagined future or dwell on past regrets. Mindfulness allows us to see things as they are, not as we fear they might be. Additionally, rational thought is a potent tool against fear and anxiety. Seneca and the Stoics emphasize that we should use reason to challenge our fears. Are they rational? Are they based on reality or just a product of our imagination? By questioning our fears and anxieties, we can often realize that they are based on unlikely scenarios or exaggerated outcomes. Lastly, practicing acceptance is key. Acceptance in this context means acknowledging our feelings of fear or anxiety without judgment, and then allowing them to exist without letting them control our actions and decisions. It's about understanding that these feelings are normal human responses, but also recognizing that they don't define us or our reality. In essence, Seneca's guidance invites us to view our fears and anxieties with a rational and present-focused mindset. He encourages us to see that our anxieties often come from dwelling in the future or the past, and that the power to overcome them lies in the here and now. As we navigate our way through life, let Seneca's words serve as a reminder: we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Equipped with this wisdom, let's strive to stay present, think rationally, and accept without judgment, for these are our most reliable tools in overcoming fear and anxiety. The art of travel as a remedy for the soul, as Seneca so eloquently puts it in his quote, "We must go for walks out of doors, so that the mind can be strengthened and invigorated by a clear sky and plenty of fresh air," may sound like a modern-day self-help suggestion. Still, in truth, it's an idea deeply rooted in ancient Stoic philosophy. But what did Seneca mean by this, and how can we incorporate this into our lives? At its core, Seneca's call to go out of doors and for walks is a call to break away from our routine, our familiar environment, and to expose ourselves to new experiences, new environments, and new perspectives. For Seneca, travel isn't about luxury or escapism. It's about personal growth, self-reflection, and mental revitalization. It's essential to understand that Seneca was not merely advocating physical travel. It is not just about the journey on foot or by other means from one geographical location to another. Instead, it's about the inward journey we undertake when we step out of our comfort zone. It's about the insights and clarity we gain when we provide our minds with a change of scenery and a chance to break free from the daily grind. Applying this lesson practically, we can seek to regularly change our environment, whether it be taking a walk in a park, a hike through the wilderness, or a trip to a new city or country. These actions give us the clear sky and fresh air that Seneca speaks about, allowing our mind to stretch, rejuvenate, and gain new perspectives. However, it's not just about physical relocation. It's also about being fully present and engaged during these travels. By doing so, we enable ourselves to absorb the environment, soak in the experiences, and allow them to shape our thoughts and understanding. In addition, travel in this context also invites introspection. As we encounter new people, cultures, or environments, we also encounter different aspects of ourselves that might remain hidden in our day-to-day routine. Such introspection can lead to greater self-awareness and a deeper understanding of our values and beliefs. Moreover, in our fast-paced world, our minds are often cluttered with information and distractions. By stepping into a different environment, we can break away from these distractions, offering our minds a much-needed rest and the space to think more clearly and creatively. Seneca's guidance on travel is a reminder of the need for mental and physical breaks from our routine life. It emphasizes that these breaks, these travels, provide a revitalizing effect on our soul and mind. It's a call to venture outside, not just to experience the world around us, but to also embark on an inward journey of self-discovery, growth, and clarity. So let's heed his advice and seek the clear sky and fresh air. Let's travel, not just as a means of transport, but as a remedy for the soul, a path to self-discovery, and a gateway to a stronger and invigorated mind. In traversing the intellectual landscape of Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, we've unearthed profound wisdom from one of the most influential Stoic philosophers. We've taken a deep dive into 11 pivotal lessons from his timeless collection of letters, each one opening a unique window to enrich our understanding of life, relationships, virtue, and our very own minds. The lessons we've explored are not only relevant, but immensely practical, touching on areas of life that we all grapple with daily. We started our journey navigating through life's hardships, understanding that adversity is not a cruel impediment, but a test of our mettle, a tool for self-discovery, and a catalyst for personal growth. We delved into the ephemeral nature of time, absorbing Seneca's urgent call to embrace the present, a lesson that urges us to value the now, the moment that is in our hands and fully under our control. We then explored the intricate facets of friendships and relationships, discovering that the crux of a true bond is understanding and being understood. We examined Seneca's guide to peace of mind, his teachings on anger management, emphasizing the stupefying effect of anger and the importance of maintaining control over our emotional responses. We unpacked the cornerstone of Stoicism, virtue as the sole good, a concept that underpins Seneca's ethics and indeed the ethics of all Stoics. We probed Seneca's perspectives on wealth and happiness, understanding that adversity is a necessary companion on the journey to personal growth. We moved on to the concept of living in accordance with nature, a cornerstone of Stoic thought that speaks about harmony, acceptance, and understanding the universal flow of life. We delved into the importance of self-discipline and control over desires, grounding ourselves in the wisdom that craving for more is the real poverty. We analyzed Seneca's perspective on death, a topic often shrouded in fear and uncertainty, and found a sense of peace and acceptance in his teachings. We took a critical look at fear and anxiety, dissecting them with the scalpel of rational thought and present moment awareness. Lastly, we allowed ourselves to wander with Seneca's thoughts on travel, understanding that travel, in essence, is a journey of the soul, a journey that invigorates the mind and provides fresh perspectives. These lessons, rooted in the depth of Stoicism, provide a compass to navigate the complexities of life. But these insights and this knowledge will only bear fruit when we incorporate them into our daily lives. Reading and understanding is merely the first step. The real journey begins when we live these lessons, when we let them guide our actions, our decisions, and our perspectives. So I invite you to not just listen to these lessons, but to embrace them, to make them a part of your life. Allow Seneca's wisdom to illuminate your path and remember his words in moments of joy and adversity. Let's strive to apply the essence of Stoicism in our everyday lives, cultivating virtue, accepting what is beyond our control, and navigating life's ups and downs with resilience and tranquility. The wisdom from Letters from a Stoic is not a prescription, but a guide, an invitation to look at life through the lens of Stoicism, enabling us to lead lives of purpose, serenity, and profound understanding. Each day provides us with an opportunity to apply these lessons, and it's through these small daily actions that we truly honor Seneca's legacy and enrich our own lives in the process. Have you ever felt trapped in a cycle of seeking approval, where every decision, every action is like a performance on the stage of public opinion? What if I told you that the key to your deepest fulfillment lies not in the applause of the crowd, but in the courage to face the music, even if it means being disliked? Welcome to a journey where we unlock the power of personal courage and redefine the way we see ourselves and the world around us. In our lives, there's a silent but constant battle, a tug-of-war between our true selves and the selves we present to the world. It's a struggle as old as humanity itself, yet in our modern, hyper-connected world, this battle has intensified. We are bombarded daily with images and messages telling us how to look, think, and act. Social media, with its endless streams of curated perfection, has amplified this, creating an echo chamber where the fear of disapproval can become our guiding force. I remember a time in my life when I was utterly consumed by this fear. It was during my college years, a period that should have been marked by exploration and self-discovery. Instead, I found myself constantly adjusting my sails to the changing winds of others' opinions. I chose courses that were popular, engaged in trends that didn't interest me, and spent countless hours crafting an image that I thought would make me likable. It was exhausting, and ironically, I never felt more disconnected from my true self. This personal battle is not unique to me. It's a narrative shared by many. Why do we care so much about what others think? The answer lies deep within our evolutionary psychology. Humans are social beings, hardwired to seek connection and acceptance. This drive for social acceptance was crucial for our survival in the past. Being part of a group meant access to resources and protection. As a result, our brains developed to be acutely sensitive to social approval and disapproval. But in our modern society, this instinct can often lead us astray, making us prioritize others' opinions over our own well-being and authenticity. This video is not just another self-help guide. It's a deep dive into the philosophy of self-empowerment and individualism. It's about understanding the roots of our fear of disapproval and learning to detach from it. Our journey today will lead us through the alleys of psychological theories and the profound insights of renowned philosophers. We will explore practical steps to build a resilient mindset, one that values personal growth over societal validation. The objective of this video is to offer you a new perspective, a lens through which you can view yourself and the world differently. It's about finding the courage to be disliked, to embrace the freedom that comes from not being bound by others' opinions. This courage doesn't mean becoming indifferent to others. Instead, it's about finding a balance where we can listen to and respect others without letting their views dictate our self-worth and life choices. In our exploration, we'll uncover the philosophy of individualism. We will delve into the works of thinkers like Friedrich Nietzsche, Jean-Paul Sartre, and Albert Camus, who challenged the status quo and celebrated the power of the individual spirit. Their words and ideas provide a compass for navigating a world where conforming is often easier than standing out. We'll also talk about practical, actionable steps, from cultivating self-awareness to setting personal goals that resonate with our authentic selves. We will discuss strategies to build confidence and resilience. It's about creating a life where our choices are driven by internal values rather than external pressures. Throughout this journey, I'll share more personal stories and insights from my own life, highlighting moments where breaking free from the need for approval led to profound personal growth and fulfillment. I'll also share stories of others who have walked this path, who have dared to stand alone, and in doing so, found a deeper connection with themselves and the world. Remember, the journey to self-empowerment is not a destination but a continuous process of growth and self-discovery. It's about learning to dance to the rhythm of your own drum, even when the world is playing a different tune. So let's begin this journey together, a journey towards the courage to be disliked, towards a life of authenticity and freedom. The human craving for acceptance is not just a social quirk, it's a deep-seated part of our psychological makeup. To understand this, we turn to the fields of evolutionary psychology and neuroscience. Our ancestors, living in small groups and tribes, relied heavily on social cohesion for survival. Those who were accepted within these groups had better access to resources, protection, and mating opportunities. Consequently, our brains evolved to be acutely sensitive to social cues, ensuring we remained in the good graces of our peers. This evolutionary background lays the groundwork for our modern-day need for acceptance. Psychological theories, such as Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, further illuminate this concept. Maslow placed belongingness and love needs, which include the need for interpersonal relationships and being part of a group, just above basic physiological and safety needs. This placement underscores the fundamental nature of our need to belong. Further adding to our understanding is the concept of social identity theory, which suggests that a significant part of our self-concept is derived from the groups to which we belong. Whether it's our family, social circle, professional community, or even a sports team, our identities are inextricably linked with these groups. This interdependence means that rejection or disapproval from these groups can feel like an existential threat to our sense of self. This deeply ingrained need for acceptance and fear of rejection is not inherently negative. It has fostered community, collaboration, and mutual support throughout human history. However, when this need becomes overpowering, it can lead to a host of psychological issues, including anxiety, depression, and a diminished sense of self-worth. In the digital age, the dynamics of social acceptance and rejection have been magnified and complicated by social media. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok have transformed the landscape of social interaction, creating virtual spaces where the quest for likes, shares, and followers often becomes a proxy for social approval. Social media's impact on our desire for acceptance can be understood through two primary lenses: comparison and instant feedback. On these platforms, we are constantly bombarded with curated, often idealized representations of others' lives. This endless stream of images and narratives can lead to detrimental social comparison, where we measure our own lives against these often unrealistic standards. This phenomenon is not just conjecture. Numerous studies have linked heavy social media use with increased feelings of inadequacy, envy, and lower self-esteem. Moreover, social media provides instant and quantifiable feedback on our social standing in the form of likes, comments, and shares. This feature plays directly into our evolutionary wiring for social cues. Each like or comment acts as a micro-validation, a digital nod of approval, feeding into our need for acceptance. Conversely, the lack of such engagement can be perceived as a form of rejection, triggering feelings of inadequacy and anxiety. But it's not just the quantity of feedback that matters, it's also the nature of it. Social media interactions lack the depth and nuance of face-to-face communication. This absence of depth can lead to misunderstandings and a skewed perception of social dynamics. Furthermore, the anonymity and distance provided by these platforms can sometimes lead to harsher, more judgmental interactions than would occur in person, amplifying the fear of rejection. It's crucial to recognize that while social media can exacerbate our desire for acceptance and fear of rejection, it is also a tool that, when used mindfully, can foster connection and community. The key lies in our approach and the awareness we bring to our use of these platforms. Having understood the psychological underpinnings of our desire for acceptance and the complex role social media plays in this dynamic, we are now better equipped to explore the philosophical foundations of individualism. This exploration will provide us with insights and tools to navigate the delicate balance between our innate need for social connection and our pursuit of authentic self-expression. Individualism, at its core, is a philosophy that places the individual at the center of its universe. It emphasizes the moral worth of the individual, the importance of personal autonomy, and the value of self-reliance and independence. This philosophy encourages individuals to pursue their own values and goals, and to express themselves freely, without undue influence from society, institutions, or external pressures. The origins of individualism can be traced back through centuries of philosophical thought, but it particularly flourished during the Enlightenment, a period marked by a seismic shift in thinking about the individual's role in society. Philosophers like John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau discussed ideas of personal freedom and the rights of the individual, laying the groundwork for modern individualism. However, it was in the works of later philosophers like Søren Kierkegaard and Friedrich Nietzsche where individualism found some of its most profound expressions. Kierkegaard, often considered the father of existentialism, emphasized the importance of individual choice and responsibility. He believed that true understanding and authenticity come from an individual's personal journey, a concept he beautifully encapsulated in his assertion that the crowd is untruth. Nietzsche took this a step further, challenging the very foundations of societal norms and morality. He advocated for the creation of one's own values, famously declaring the death of God, a metaphor for the collapse of absolute moral values. Nietzsche's concept of the Übermensch, or overman, is a call for individuals to rise above traditional societal norms and create a life that is truly their own. The benefits of embracing individualism are manifold. Firstly, it leads to greater personal freedom. By recognizing and asserting our own values and beliefs, we free ourselves from the shackles of conformity and societal expectations. This freedom allows us to explore and express our true selves, leading to a more authentic and fulfilling life. Moreover, individualism fosters creativity and innovation. When we are not bound by the norms and conventions of society, we are free to think and act differently. This environment is fertile ground for new ideas, artistic expression, and breakthroughs in various fields. History is replete with examples of individuals who, by following their unique vision, have brought about significant advancements and changes in society. Another significant benefit is the development of personal responsibility. Individualism teaches us that we are the architects of our own lives. This realization empowers us to take control of our destiny, make conscious choices, and bear the consequences of our actions. It instills a sense of accountability and self-reliance, which are crucial for personal growth and self-improvement. Individualism also promotes emotional and psychological well-being. When we live according to our own standards and values, we are more likely to experience a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. This alignment between our actions and our inner selves can lead to greater mental health, reducing feelings of anxiety and depression often associated with living inauthentically. However, it's important to note that individualism is not about self-centeredness or egotism. It's not about disregarding the needs and rights of others. Rather, it's about finding a balance between our own needs and the well-being of the community. It's about understanding that our true power lies not in diminishing others, but in empowering ourselves. Having explored the philosophy of individualism and its myriad benefits, we now turn to practical steps we can take to overcome the fear of being disliked. This next section will provide actionable advice and strategies to help us embrace our individuality and cultivate a mindset of courage and authenticity. Now we will explore 3 key areas. Deep self-reflection to understand our motivations for seeking approval. The importance of setting personal goals aligned with our true selves. And practical ways to build and nurture self-confidence. These steps are not just about reducing our dependency on external validation, but are fundamental in forging a path towards authentic self-expression and personal fulfillment. 1. Self-reflection. Embarking on a journey of self-reflection is essential for understanding and eventually overcoming the fear of being disliked. This process involves delving deep into our psyche to uncover the reasons behind our constant search for external validation. Reflect on your past experiences, especially those from childhood or early adulthood. These formative years often hold the key to understanding our current behavior. Did you feel a strong need to please your parents or teachers? Were there instances where you felt rejected or unaccepted? Understanding these experiences can provide insights into why you seek approval today. Maintain a journal to document your thoughts, feelings, and reactions to daily events. This practice can reveal patterns in your approval-seeking behavior. For instance, you might notice that you're more likely to seek validation in situations where you feel less confident. Journaling also provides a safe space for exploring your emotions and thoughts, allowing for a better understanding of your inner self. Engage in mindfulness practices to enhance your self-awareness. Mindfulness involves being present in the moment and observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. This practice can help you recognize when you're seeking approval and understand the emotions driving this behavior. Two, setting personal goals. Setting personal goals that reflect your true aspirations and values is a powerful way to cultivate independence and reduce the influence of others' opinions on your life choices. Start by identifying your core values. What principles do you hold dear? What aspects of life do you find most meaningful? Your values might include creativity, integrity, compassion, or learning. Aligning your goals with these values ensures that your pursuits are genuinely fulfilling and representative of who you are. Develop SMART, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals. This approach ensures that your goals are clear and attainable. For example, if one of your values is health, a SMART goal could be, I will exercise for 30 minutes every day for the next 3 months. This goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant to your value of health, and time-bound. Create a vision board or engage in visualization exercises to keep your goals and values in sight. A vision board can be a physical or digital collage of images and words that represent your goals and aspirations. Visualization involves mentally picturing yourself achieving your goals. These practices can help keep you motivated and focused. 3. Building self-confidence. Developing a strong sense of self-confidence is crucial for overcoming the fear of being disliked. Confidence comes from a belief in one's abilities and worth, and it can be nurtured through various practices. Positive self-talk and affirmations. Be mindful of your internal dialogue. Transform negative or self-doubting thoughts into positive affirmations. For instance, replace thoughts like "I'm not good enough" with "I'm worthy and capable." Regularly practicing positive self-talk can significantly improve your self-esteem and confidence. Skill development and lifelong learning. Pursue new skills or hobbies that interest you. Learning and improving your abilities in different areas can boost your sense of competence and self-confidence, whether it's a new language, a musical instrument, or a professional skill. Developing mastery in these areas can be incredibly empowering. Physical health and wellness. Pay attention to your physical health. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, and adequate sleep can greatly influence your mental state and self-confidence. Physical activity in particular is known to release endorphins, which can improve mood and reduce anxiety. Social support and positive relationships. Surround yourself with supportive and positive people. Relationships that are encouraging and affirming can significantly boost your confidence. Seek out friends, family members, or mentors who believe in you and your abilities. Celebrating achievements and embracing failures. Acknowledge and celebrate your accomplishments, no matter how small. At the same time, learn to embrace failures as opportunities for growth. Understanding that failure is a part of learning and development can help build resilience and a healthier approach to challenges. Overcoming the fear of being disliked is a multifaceted journey that begins with deep self-reflection, progresses through setting personal goals aligned with our true values, and is strengthened by building a resilient sense of self-confidence. Through mindful introspection, we uncover the roots of our approval-seeking behaviors, By setting goals that resonate with our core values, we chart a course towards genuine self-expression. And finally, by nurturing our self-confidence through positive self-talk, skill development, and embracing both our successes and failures, we cultivate the inner strength needed to stand firm in our individuality. This journey is not about becoming impervious to others' opinions, but about finding a balance where we can live authentically and freely in alignment with who we truly are. Philosophy, in its rich and varied history, has always provided profound insights into the human condition. Central to many philosophical discourses is the concept of individual thought and self-reliance. This idea urges us to look within for answers, to find our own paths, and to trust in our personal journey. Among the myriad of thinkers, Friedrich Nietzsche, Jean-Paul Sartre, and Albert Camus offer particularly poignant insights into these themes. Their thoughts and philosophies provide a powerful lens through which we can view our quest to overcome the fear of being disliked. Nietzsche's famous statement, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how," is not just a reflection on endurance, but a profound commentary on the human search for meaning. In Nietzsche's existential philosophy, this search for a personal why is central to our existence. It's about finding that intrinsic motivation, the deep-seated purpose that gives our lives direction and resilience. To fully appreciate this, we need to understand Nietzsche's view of life as inherently devoid of predetermined meaning. Far from a nihilistic perspective, Nietzsche saw this as an opportunity for individual empowerment. By creating our purpose, we anchor ourselves in a meaningful existence that is immune to life's unpredictabilities and external opinions. Applying Nietzsche's philosophy to our fear of being disliked, we are encouraged to find our own reasons for living that are independent of societal approval. This could be a personal passion, a life goal, or a set of values we hold dear. Grounded in our purpose, we become less susceptible to the whims of public opinion and more resilient in the face of criticism. Nietzsche's call to find our why also implies a journey of self-discovery. It is a process of exploring our passions, our strengths, and our values. This journey is not without its challenges, as it requires us to question societal norms and often take the road less traveled. However, the reward is a life lived with authenticity and inner fulfillment. Jean-Paul Sartre's quote, "Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you," encapsulates the existentialist belief in the primacy of personal choice. Sartre's philosophy is rooted in the idea that our essence, who we are as individuals, is defined by our actions and choices, not by our circumstances or external influences. This perspective is incredibly empowering, especially when confronting the fear of being disliked. Sartre's philosophy teaches us that we are not defined by others' perceptions or judgments. Instead, we have the freedom to choose how we respond to these external factors. This freedom is both a privilege and a responsibility, as it places the onus of our self-definition squarely on our shoulders. Embracing Sartre's view means acknowledging that even in situations where we face criticism or disapproval, we have the power to choose our path. We can choose to conform to others' expectations, or we can choose authenticity and self-acceptance. This choice, according to Sartre, is the essence of freedom. It's a realization that our identity and self-worth are not contingent on external validation, but are the result of our conscious choices and actions. Implementing Sartre's philosophy in our lives requires courage and introspection. It means being honest with ourselves about our values and beliefs, and being willing to stand by them, even in the face of opposition. It also involves a continuous process of self-evaluation and growth as we navigate the complexities of our social world. Albert Camus, known for his contributions to existentialism and absurdism, presents a unique perspective on authenticity and freedom. His statement, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion," challenges us to consider the act of living authentically as a form of resistance. For Camus, the world is often a place of irrationality and injustice, where genuine freedom can seem like an unattainable ideal. However, Camus suggests that we can counter this unfreedom through an internal rebellion, by living in a way that is true to our own values and beliefs, even if it contradicts societal norms. Applying Camus' philosophy to our lives encourages us to view our pursuit of authenticity not just as a personal choice, but as a bold statement of independence. By choosing to be true to ourselves, especially in the face of potential disapproval or misunderstanding, we engage in a form of philosophical rebellion. Our authenticity becomes an expression of freedom, a declaration of our individuality, and a stand against conformist pressures. Embracing Camus' view of authenticity involves a deep understanding of our own values and a commitment to living in alignment with them. It requires us to be introspective, to continually question and affirm our beliefs, and to have the courage to express our true selves. This path may not always be easy, as it often involves going against the grain, but it is a path that leads to a life of integrity and freedom. The insights of Nietzsche, Sartre, and Camus provide us with invaluable guidance as we confront the fear of being disliked. Their philosophies teach us about the power of defining our own purpose, embracing the freedom of choice in our responses, and seeing our authentic self-expression as an act of rebellion against conformity. As we ponder their teachings, we realize the immense power that resides within us, the power to shape our own lives, independent of external validation or disapproval. As we reach the conclusion of our journey through the philosophical and practical realms of overcoming the fear of being disliked, let us take a moment to reflect on the key insights we've explored. We began by delving into the psychological underpinnings of our desire for acceptance, understanding how evolutionary factors and the influence of social media play a significant role in shaping our need for external validation. We then ventured into the philosophy of individualism, drawing wisdom from the profound thoughts of Nietzsche, Sartre, and Camus, who taught us about the power of personal purpose, the freedom in our choices, and the rebellion in authenticity. Our exploration then led us to practical strategies for self-reflection, goal setting, and building self-confidence, empowering us to cultivate a mindset of courage and self-reliance. This journey has been about more than just understanding concepts. It's been a call to action. Now it's your turn to apply these principles in your life. Start by engaging in honest self-reflection, understanding your motivations, and recognizing your patterns of seeking approval. Set personal goals aligned with your true values, and embark on the fulfilling path of living authentically. Cultivate resilience and self-confidence through positive self-talk and skill development. Remember, the journey towards overcoming the fear of being disliked is not a one-time effort, but a continuous process of growth, learning, and self-discovery. I encourage you to embrace the freedom that comes from being true to yourself, even in the face of potential disapproval. Let the insights of the great philosophers inspire you to find your unique path, and let the practical strategies we discussed be your guide as you navigate the complexities of social expectations. Your journey towards a more authentic, confident, and fulfilling life starts today. Embrace it with courage and openness, and remember, you are not alone in this journey. Together, we can foster a community that values individuality, encourages authenticity, and celebrates the diverse paths we all walk. Thank you for joining me on this exploration. If you found value in this video, please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your engagement not only supports this channel, but also helps build a community of like-minded individuals seeking personal growth. Don't forget to subscribe for more content that aims to empower and inspire. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep being unapologetically you.